Today, we're diving into some truly disturbing camping and deep woods scary stories. These tales are perfect for those who love a good scare and want to hear about the eerie experiences that happen far from the safety of home. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more creepy stories and horror content. Let's get started. 1. The Man in the Woods. Jake and his friends decided to go camping in a remote forest, far away from the hustle and bustle of the city. They found a perfect spot near a small clearing and set up their tents. The first night was peaceful, but things took a dark turn on the second night. As they sat around the campfire, Jake noticed a figure standing at the edge of the clearing, just beyond the light of the fire. Thinking it was just a shadow, he ignored it, but then he saw it again, closer this time. The figure was tall, with a disheveled appearance and eyes that seemed to glow in the dark. Jake pointed it out to his friends, but when they looked, the figure was gone. That night, they heard footsteps circling their campsite and branches snapping. In the morning, they found strange, bare footprints around their tents. They decided to cut their trip short and leave. As they packed up, Jake spotted the figure again, watching them from the trees. They left in a hurry, and Jake couldn't shake the feeling of being watched long after they had returned home. 2. The Abandoned Cabin. Sarah and her boyfriend Mike loved exploring the wilderness and often went on long hikes. One day, they stumbled upon an old, abandoned cabin deep in the woods. The cabin looked like it hadn't been touched in years, but curiosity got the better of them, and they decided to check it out. Inside, the cabin was filled with old furniture, cobwebs, and an eerie silence. As they explored, they found strange symbols carved into the walls and old, yellowed photographs of people they didn't recognize. Feeling uneasy, they decided to leave, but not before Sarah took a photo of one of the symbols. That night, back at their campsite, they were awakened by strange noises. It sounded like whispering, but they couldn't make out the words. Suddenly, their tent was violently shaken, as if someone was trying to get in. They bolted out of the tent and saw the same symbols from the cabin drawn in the dirt around their campsite. Terrified, they packed up and left in the middle of the night. Sarah later developed the photo she took, only to see a ghostly figure standing behind her in the cabin. They never went back to those woods again. 3. The Disappearing Camper. Mark was an experienced camper who loved the solitude of the deep woods. He often went on solo camping trips to clear his mind. On one such trip, he camped near a serene lake, miles away from any other campers or towns. One evening, as he was preparing his dinner, he heard a faint cry for help coming from the woods. Grabbing his flashlight, he ventured into the trees to investigate. The cries grew louder, leading him deeper into the forest. But when he reached the source, there was no one there. Just as he was about to turn back, he felt a cold hand on his shoulder. He spun around, but no one was there. Frightened, he hurried back to his campsite, only to find it completely trashed. His tent was torn apart, and his belongings were scattered. He decided to leave immediately. As he packed up, he noticed strange symbols carved into the trees around his campsite. When he finally reached his car, he saw a figure standing at the edge of the woods, watching him. He never went camping alone again. 4. The Phantom Campfire. Lisa and her friends loved their annual camping trips. They had a favorite spot in the deep woods where they always camped. One year, they arrived to find someone had already set up camp. But as they got closer, they realized the campfire was lit, but there was no one around. They decided to set up their camp a little distance away, feeling uneasy about the abandoned campsite. That night, they heard laughter and voices coming from the direction of the other campfire. But when they checked, it was still empty. As the night went on, the noises grew louder and more unsettling. They heard footsteps, whispers, and the distinct sound of children giggling. Terrified, they stayed in their tent, too scared to investigate further. In the morning, they found the other campsite completely untouched, with no signs of anyone having been there. They quickly packed up and left, vowing never to return to that spot. Later, they learned that years ago, a family had gone missing in those woods, and their campfire was found still burning, just like the one they had seen. 5. The Haunted Trail. Tom and his hiking group were exploring a new trail in a remote part of the forest. The trail was beautiful, but had an eerie feel to it. As they hiked, they noticed strange symbols carved into the trees and occasional whispers in the wind. As night fell, they set up camp along the trail. Around midnight, they heard rustling in the bushes and saw shadowy figures moving in the darkness. They tried to ignore it, thinking it was just animals, but the noises grew louder and more persistent. One of the group members, Jenny, decided to investigate. She walked a short distance from the campsite and vanished into the darkness. The group searched for her but found no trace. Suddenly, Jenny reappeared, but she was different. Her eyes were vacant, and she spoke in a monotone voice, repeating the same phrase over and over. "The forest is not safe." They decided to leave immediately, guiding Jenny along the trail. As they reached the edge of the forest, Jenny snapped out of her trance but had no memory of what happened. The group never returned to that trail, and the experience haunted them for years. Thank you for joining us as we explored these disturbing camping and deep woods scary stories. From the man in the woods and the abandoned cabin to the disappearing camper, the phantom campfire, and the haunted trail, these tales remind us of the eerie and unsettling things that can happen far from civilization. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with friends who love a good scare, and subscribe to our channel for more chilling tales and horror content. Don't forget to hit the bell icon to stay updated with our latest videos. Have you ever experienced something spooky while camping? Let us know in the comments below. Stay safe, and see you in the next video.